Thank you everyone for joining. My name is Eddie Thompson. I am Lead Solution Engineer for Sumo Logic in APAC ANZ. And today I'm here to talk to you about software development optimization, and more specifically our solution for software development optimization. So one of the things that we speak a lot about now at Sumo is observability, and specifically the value that we can bring when it comes to observability. And one of the reasons for this is that it's not something which you can say is a specific fit for all. There's lots of different teams and there's lots of different use cases in this space. So you've got people like your DevOps group and your SREs, and they're looking to improve their mean time to identify, mean time to respond. They're looking to respond to issues in real time. They're looking to fix problems with their applications, and they're looking to identify root causes and how they can restore their application performances. Then you have people in software engineering, and they're looking to improve their software development velocity and the quality of what they're deploying. So they're looking to monitor their development pipelines, identify where they've got inefficiencies, and also their root cause identification is looking for process issues that they can optimize. And that's sort of what we'll be drilling into today. And I suppose the other thing as well, observability-wise, is protecting customer data. So the security side of things, your DevSecOps groups, so they're looking for threats and vulnerabilities, identifying attack vectors and how they can sort of understand what the blast radius of particular decisions are and how they can look to remediate things. So specifically, as I mentioned, we're talking about software development optimization, and the software development ecosystem these days is very broad. So it's has more moving parts than ever before across development tooling, across infrastructure tooling, CI/CD tooling, everything that we sort of use to be able to deploy applications quickly and be able to respond to problems in real time. And because of this breadth of tooling and various pieces of software throughout this ecosystem, it's very hard to get a clear view of what is actually happening across your entire environment. And so Sumo makes this a lot easier, because a lot of the time you may have a large component of this data already going into Sumo if you're a Sumo customer for particular sort of troubleshooting reasons. And this is something where we can really give additional value to this data to sort of give you some more business intelligence as well. The things that we're sort of looking to help with is things like faster release velocity, improving your reliability and security, and enabling greater team collaboration. So basically, this is all based around the DORA metrics. So if you're not familiar with DORA, that's the DevOps Research and Assessment Organization. So basically, this is something where we're looking to provide end-to-end visibility, and we're looking to logs and events across the DevOps lifecycle, and we normalize these from various services and enrich them, and basically allow you to easily track these DORA metrics within your environment. And it doesn't matter whether this is something also that we've explicitly sort of supporting all of the tooling that you're using immediately, because this is an extensible solution. It can be tailored to your own processes. It doesn't have to specifically use just one or a handful of tools. It can be working with various tooling across various groups and make sure that you're comparing apples with apples and get some meaningful data out of this. So a quick sort of overview of the architecture. We have it set up so it's very easy to deploy. So if you're using sort of a bunch of common supported tooling, so things like JIRA, GitHub, Bitbucket, Jenkins, Opsgenie, PagerDuty, it's very easy to deploy this solution in minutes via Terraform. And basically, we get the data, the event data that's coming in from things like when you create a pull request, when you create a build, when you do a deployment, when there is an incident, and tag these and normalize it to a common schema. And because we are normalizing to this common schema, it means that you can have that extensible function. So you can tie in other tooling, you can have disparate tooling and make sure that you are sort of tracking a common set of events to get these useful metrics within your environment. The other thing too is, we give you some out-of-the-box dashboards that allow you to really dig into what's going on within your development environment and what's going on within your various teams and stuff, and really provide a lot of value quickly from this data. And I suppose the question here is the why. So the reality is that high-performing software delivery teams win. So when compared with low-performing software teams, and this is sort of been done out of a lot of research from DORA, elite performers deploy code much more frequently, order of magnitude more frequently, and they are far faster from the lead time from commit to deploy. They're much faster at recovering from incidents, and they deploy far fewer breaking changes. So these are things that measurable metrics and things that are definitely worthwhile measuring within your organization and looking at how you can improve them. So when I talk about these metrics, we've got some specific ones here, and this isn't something that's been cooked up by Sumo. So DORA as an organization, through a lot of years of research, have identified 4 key metrics that they tie to software delivery performance. The first one is deployment frequency. That is how often code is deployed to production, and faster is better. The lead time for change, that is the time it takes from a merge of a commit to production deployment, and shorter is better. And these are measures of agility. And on the other side of the coin, we have mean time to recovery. So that is how long it takes to recover from an incident in production. And shorter is better, obviously. And finally, we have change failure rate. So that is the percentage of your deployments that subsequently require remediation in production. And obviously, lower is better. And these are our measures of reliability. So broadly, 4 metrics, half and half across agility and reliability. And that's how we can look to define the effectiveness of a development organization. So I don't want to bore you too much with slides, so we'll jump over into a live demonstration and we can have a look at how we do this within Sumo. So this is a DORA overview dashboard, and we can see here live computation of the 4 key DORA metrics. So I have my deployment frequency, my lead time for changes, change failure rate, and my time to restore service. And we can see here sort of a heads up traffic light type view, and then also some trending over the previous time. Now, what's really important here is that this is something which is a live calculation. So this is being calculated from the data that is being generated in real time. This isn't something where you're going back in time and pulling some reports from JIRA and sort of dumping it into Excel and mucking around. You're able to see exactly what's going on in your environment all the time. So the thing that sticks out to me here is my lead time for change is in yellow. and I can see there's been a bit of a spike up here and things are taking longer than they were. And that's something that I want to definitely want to investigate, because this is something that's impacting my development velocity in a negative sense. So I can drill down into my specific dashboard around the lead time for changes. And this is basically taking that metric and breaking it down into what is going on with more detail. So what are the contributory factors? So I've still got my average lead time here, but it's showing me things like what are my repos that have the slowest lead time, which services have the longest lead time, and which teams. Now, I look like I've got some fairly even distributions there, but if I have one or two sticking out, that's definitely something that you want to investigate. But what I can see here for me is it looks like I've got some pipeline issues that are blowing out my lead time. So I've got a pipeline here called master build test, and that is taking loads of time compared to my my deployment pipeline. So it's over 26 hours, which is really, really long. So that's definitely something that I wish to investigate. And we provide you with dashboards for things like pipeline stage monitoring. So this is where we can really drill into what's going on more specifically. So my pipeline, what's going on, my pipeline executions, fairly even between my builds and deploys, which stages are having the most executions, which stages have failed, and most importantly, what are my pipeline durations via hours? And I can see here the various stages. It looks like regression tests here is the one visually that's taking the chunk. And I can actually filter down now and sort of say, okay, well, let's have a look at master build test and regression tests. So because we've got this whole set of data, it's not just some random aggregates. We can actually drill down into the underlying causes of what's going on here. So I've filtered down. I can see my pipeline summaries, but this is the interesting bit to me here. So top 10 slowest steps. So within this particular stage of regression tests, I can see step name, back-end ETL tests, 23 hours. So that's what's blowing out my time here, and that's something that I've can get investigated and resolve whatever's blowing out this test time. But what's important here is being able to identify a negative trend from a high-level metric, and then be able to dig in under the covers to identify likely causes that we can actually resolve. So I'll pivot over slightly now. So we started with a metrics overview. The other way we've got here to visualize data within the solution is our pipeline overview. And this gives you a right to left view of what's going on within your development org. So pipeline execution trends, I can see which pipelines and how they're trending with the number of jobs they're running. And then I can sort of move back across my life cycle. So what were my last 10 critical alerts? And I can link out there to actually investigate the alert in PagerDuty. What's my deployment status? How many successes versus failures have I had? I've got like quite a lot of failures going on. I can actually say, okay, well, what's the last commit that happened for this failed deployment? And if I wish to drill into that, I can deep link straight out and investigate what happened in that particular commit within the GitHub record. So this is tying together my real data and allowing me easily to pivot into the depth within those tools, if that makes sense to me here. Builds, what are my last 10 failed builds? What are my longest pull requests by time to close? What are my last 10 critical issues in JIRA? And what's my trend across my issues? So complete, done, to do, which issues are taking the longest to close? This is all really, really helpful information to sort of help you identify where the particular bottlenecks are within your organization. So one of the things that's sort of giving you a heads up, but we can also drill into these in more detail. So things like pull requests. And the problem I identified just before was a pipeline problem. It was something that was a problem within my build process. But where do we frequently lose hours and hours in our process when we frequently chase minutes in our optimization of our tooling? It's the human problem. So pull requests. What are my volumes of created versus merged versus declined? Which services have the most PRs? Which target branches? And how many reviewers do I have by assigned PRs? Who are my top reviewers by average time to close? What are my repos by average time to close? So do I have human process gaps that I can improve? Is my lead time getting blown out by the fact that I don't have enough people trained to approve PRs on a particular branch? Do I have some teams which are doing noticeably better than others? Can we investigate how they are doing better and how we can use that to improve other teams in our organization? So this is a key one to be able to identify some of those gaps as well. And also just being able to visually track what's my rate of things like created versus merged versus decline pull requests. If I'm seeing a spike in decline PRs, why is that? How can I drill into that? Which PRs are taking the longest time to merge? Why is that? What are my most recent PRs that have been merged? The same thing goes with builds. And once again, all of these, because it's live data, I'm able to filter down by things like particular status, or if I want to investigate a particular repo or service or team, this is all filterable, and this is extensible too. So if you have a lot of particular structure and you want to break this down by business unit or some other tribe or function within your organization, this is extensible. You can add that to it as long as you've got some tag or something in your data that you can then that you want to filter by. It's really easy to do that. This isn't sort of this is what you get and suck it and see. You're able to make this work for your business. This is a foundation that we're providing for you. So having a look at builds, where are my builds breaking down by service and by team, successes and failures? Am I seeing something out of the normal? What are my most recent successful and failed builds? And once again, if I want to jump out and find a failed build in GitHub, I can see what's going on as well. And finally, alerts. This is a handy one for if you're sort of looking into the service management side of things more. Where are my failures coming from? Do I have particular services or particular teams which are getting the lion's share of my high priority and critical P1s in production? How can we evaluate better why we're having these particular issues in particular areas? And what's my distribution of my high priority alerts by services? Now, there's a few other things that we can drill in here too as well, but that gives you a general feel of what we're able to do here. And the important thing is that this is information that you're able to derive in real time because the data is going into Sumo from your tooling, and you're able to make decisions on up-to-date data, not post hoc reports which tell you that you already know that you had a bad month because you've got a report after the fact. This is something that lets you know where you've got problems in real time and what you can do to help investigate those. Now, we'll see if we've got any questions here. So can we extend this with a tool like BuildKite? Yeah, absolutely. So we've got customers who are using BuildKite. So whether you're not using something like Jenkins or BuildKite or Harness, it doesn't matter. It's really just making sure that you normalize the data to the published schema within Sumo. And this is absolutely something that one of our customer success engineers or solution engineers can assist you with to get this data into the platform. Now, because we have sort of had all that delivery effort sort of put in and normalizing things to these schemas, it means that it is really easy to set up. It is something that we can deploy via Terraform in a few minutes, and even if you go through and do it manually, it doesn't take that long as well. And because we sort of have an API first approach and all of our sort of capabilities are available through things like Terraform. So if you are working towards infrastructure as code and things like that, yeah, Sumo is fully behind that and making sure we're working with the ways that your business wants to work as well. So another question I've got here, what does this cost? So the only thing that this costs you with Sumo, if you're already a Sumo customer, is the data that you need to get into the platform to drive it. So these are not particularly heavy data sources, they're audit type data sources. So you may already have a bunch of this data within the platform if you're already sort of tracking some of your CI/CD tools, but there's no additional charge for this. This is a solution application that you can install in any paid Sumo plan. So there's no additional charge for this particular service. One more question I've got there. So do I need to have all the data sources? Now, it's a good one. So you are going to get the greatest visibility if you do sort of have that view across the full sort of gamut of the services. But say you only bring in your build tool. You're still going to get that view of your build and deploys as long as you've got your build and deploy tooling and you don't have anything from your alerts. You're not going to be able to track things like your change failure rate and your time to restore service, but you are going to be able to see things like your deployment frequency and your lead time for changes. So it's going to be better if you have the full view, but yeah, you can absolutely start with GitHub and Jenkins, and you're still going to get a lot of information, a lot of value, but you aren't going to get the full picture, obviously. Now, I think that's about all the time we have for questions, so sorry if I didn't get to you. But just to wrap things up, just want to reiterate, so Sumo Logic makes it really easy for you to benchmark and optimize the software development and delivery performance across your entire DevOps lifecycle. So this software development optimization solution helps you to release code faster, improve your application reliability and observability, and also help you increase collaboration across your various teams. So thank you very much for your time. Once again, my name is Eddie Thompson, and I really appreciate you spending the time to listen to me today. Cheers.